Damage 365 Radio with your host Kevin Nasta.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game. It's all about the game and how you play it. All about control. And if you can take it, all about your stand. And if you can play it, it's all about pain. And who's gonna make it?
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Damage 365 Radio. This is episode number 1 of season number 2. Happy New Year, everybody, and again, welcome to Damage 365 Radio. We have a great show in store for you tonight. As always, we'll kick it off with our happy birthday and shout-out segment. We will go into our Golden Era tournament where the Final Four has been knocked down to the final. I will go on a little bit of a rant. I don't get many of these, but when somebody just pushes the buttons the right way, I will air it out on the radio today. Nobody is safe. And as we go into that, we'll finish it up and we'll get into an interview with our special guest today. Pro bodybuilder and professional wrestler Melissa Coates will be on the show today. And then we'll go into a little outro at the end of the show. We'll let you know who's going to be on the show next week and where Damage 365 Radio is going to be in the next couple of weeks, because we will be busy for the entire month of February and March, as we will be all over the state of New Jersey attending promotion after promotion after promotion, leading right into the big event in March in Queens, New York, and we cannot wait for that. So let's get right into our segments of Happy Birthday. I'd like to wish a happy birthday to alumni softball league mates Isaac Molina and Paul Rackman. Happy birthday to both you guys, as we have a very small segment today. Happy birthday, Isaac Molina and Paul Rackman. And ladies and gentlemen, as always, you can reach out to Damage 365 Radio via our social networking, our social media all over the planet Earth. You can reach Damage 365 by Skype at 65 Radio, Twitter at Damage Athletics, and our Facebook page, facebook.com/Damage365, or by using Facebook Messenger and reaching out to me, Coach Kev, at facebook.com/Nasta, that's N-A-S-T-A. We are live on Skype on every show and on Twitter on every show. So if you have any questions, concerns, or you just want to be part of Damage 365's social networking, you can reach out to us and we'll be there for you. As always, Damage 365 is not responsible for the comments of our fans. So if they make a comment that you don't like, please bring it up with them. As long as you don't see our names linked to it, we have no responsibility to what they say. But let's get into our next segment, as I'm very excited to announce the new finals for our WWF Golden Tournament.
Yes, sir, we promised you a great main event here tonight. Andre, the China WrestleMania!
Hulkamania is running wild.
My God, what run!
And we're now down to the last two, the final two, the two men who will be the future champion of the Golden Era. The Final Four was set with Andre the Giant taking on the Macho Man Randy Savage, and it was Tully Blanchard taking on Bret the Hitman Hart. We'll start with the bottom bracket. It was Bret the Hitman Hart defeating Tully Blanchard and advancing to the finals. And it was Andre the Giant defeating the Macho Man Randy Savage And the finals are set. Andre the Giant versus Bret the Hitman Hart. And this is a match that did happen in real life, and it was Andre the Giant defeating Bret the Hitman Hart via pinfall on a one-on-one match. There were also many tag team bouts where the Hart Foundation took on the Colossal Connection, which was Andre the Giant and Haku. And they actually split their 4 matches. 2 by pinfall for the Colossal Connection, and the Hitman and Jim the Anvil won both of their matches via disqualification. So, Andre the Giant versus Bret the Hitman Hart in the finals of our Golden Era tournament. And folks, our next tournament is just going to be just as great. It is the top 64 best technical wrestlers of all time. And that tournament I cannot wait for. That will start after next week's show. As always, you can send in your ideas for a tournament. You can send in your votes for the tournament at our Twitter page at Damage Athletics, or you can Skype us at Damage365 Radio, or Facebook at facebook.com/Damage365. We got into the segment now where I don't know. I'm a little. I was more annoyed the other day, but I'm kind of cooled off. But what pisses me off, and I want to say what pisses me off sincerely, is a lot of these wrestling promotions. They think they're the next WWE. Okay, look, nobody supports indie wrestling like Damage 365. Okay, we attend shows, we go to shows, we promote shows, we do everything through Facebook and Twitter for these shows, and nobody wants indie wrestling to succeed more than us. Okay, I don't want to say nobody, but we're on the highest level as anybody who wants them to succeed. Okay, and every independent wrestling promotion should be there to help each other out. And that doesn't matter if it's New Jersey Championship Wrestling, doesn't matter if it's Pro Wrestling Syndicate, it doesn't matter if it's All Stars of Wrestling, Warriors of Wrestling, Legends of Professional Wrestling, East Coast Championship Wrestling. It doesn't matter. Everybody should be there to help each other out. They're all a league that's trying to make a name for themselves, trying to put their footprint in the sand. Every single one of them reaches out to former WWE, WCW, TNA stars, so they have a marketable name to every one of their shows. And every one of these independent wrestling leagues get basically the same names. So you'll see Jake the Snake Roberts being thrown all over the place in the next couple of months. He's going to be on JCW. He's going to be on Syndicate. He's going to be in Staten Island signing autographs at Euro Pizza. I mean, he's going to be all over the place because he's the next one in line that everybody wants as their marketable guy for their league. So nobody's the WWE, and nobody tries and pretends or should that they are the WWE. They're not TNA, okay? They're not bigger than anybody else. What makes you successful is the people that you put on your show, okay? What makes you successful is your promoters and the people who run your league, okay? And there's people years and years and years have run all these wrestling leagues all along the United States, and I would say the Northeast has the best independent wrestling, okay? Not taking anything away from the Midwest or the West Coast. It's just that they're just more of a fan base, okay? I've seen videos, I've seen pictures of some Midwest wrestling where there is like 45 people watching a match in a basement. And you know what? That's great, but if you were in the Northeast, there would be 250 people watching that match. Not everybody has the space for it, understand. But it's all about the people who are marketing your product. And if you can't market your product properly, then you're not going to succeed. But if you're also a jerk that has a good product, you're going to counterbalance it. You're going to cancel out your good product because the first thing people are going to remember is your attitude and your mouth and just the way you portray yourself. Because if you portray yourself like that, that's a reflection of your business. Okay? I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and when I come back, I'm going to get right into it because now I'm starting to get a little heated again. So we'll be back in about 30 seconds.
Esposito's Pizza and Pasta. Over a decade of excellent dining experience. Dine in, take out, or free delivery. We feature over 25 different types of pizza pies, and also will create anything you want. Our sauces are made fresh daily and use only the freshest ingredients. We also have good old-fashioned style entrees, cooked like your mom used to make. From wraps, calzones, rolls, and pasta specials galore to calamari and soups, all in a cozy atmosphere. Call today or stop on in.
Okay, we're back, and to get back into this, okay, PWS, Pro Wrestling Syndicate. It's a New Jersey-based company, a very good company. I'm not going to sit here and tell you and comment about how it's run, but I can tell you how it's portrayed. I can tell you how it's been reflected in the last couple of weeks just by my interaction with some of the people. Eric Pleska was originally started PWS back in 2007. He is currently a co-owner with Pat Buck. Both of them run their Facebook page, and Pat Buck is also their resident wrestling trainer and coach, and he also wrestles on other New Jersey circuits, whether it's All Stars of Wrestling, WOW, whatever it is. He wrestles elsewhere besides his own product. Whether Pat Buck is there to flex a little muscle for people trying to protect their product, or whatever it is, okay, I contacted PWS, okay. Everybody who follows us knows that we have a very good relationship with Jersey Championship Wrestling. We're starting to build our relationship with Warriors of Wrestling and Superstars of Wrestling. Okay, I reached out to them via their Facebook page and a private email stating who I was, what we do, how we tried to help out other wrestling leagues, what Damage 365 Radio is, and what promotions we're running, and they basically replied back with nothing but insult. They don't know my product, which I never claimed they did know or they should know. Okay, I'm not saying that wrestling promoters sit on the internet all day long and listen to wrestling shows all over the East Coast. I know they don't. Okay, there are a couple that people have heard of right off the top of your head, like VOC Nation. Okay, we're a young company. We've only started the Saturday before WrestleMania back in April. We're not even a year old. We're into our second season now. We're trying to build. Okay, but the lack of respect and unprofessionalism is not called for when someone is reaching out to you to help you out. What you're telling them is, screw you, I don't need your help. We don't need anybody's help. We're only going to be getting help from people that we know of, because how do you know all these people? You had at one point to not know about them. You had to have them reach out to you, or you reached out to them, but whatever the case may be. Their reply was that because we mentioned JCW, and in their opinion, we put JCW over, which to me is, why don't you speak like a human and not as a wrestling fan? It's a slap in their face because they have no respect for competition and how competition works. They also went on to insult my product as an unknown and claim that I needed to give them reasons why I should be given press credentials to one of their shows. The email was full of unprofessional sarcasm, total disrespect towards Damage 365, my staff, and myself. When I followed the email with the unnecessary information that they needed and told me that I came to them to offer a promo and their product, they went on again to be unprofessional and disrespect me and basically said I was looking for free admission. Seriously? Apparently you guys don't know who I am. $20 to me to get into your building is not a big deal. Okay? I donate more in food to people than $20. Okay? I'm not looking for free anything. Okay? My entire show comes out of my pocket. Why? Because that's what I want to do, and that's what kind of person I am. I'm not asking for a handout. If I was looking for a handout, I would have asked you for free tickets. I would have asked you for press credentials. Okay? And what these small-minded buffoons don't understand, that all these indie companies should be there helping each other strive to be the best. They're one of those small companies who think they're WWE, when in reality, they're one of over 3,000 independent wrestling companies in North America. And all these companies get the same former pro wrestlers, like we mentioned before, on their shows. They help their companies grow. PWS, I guess, forgets where they came from, who they are, and what their marketing caters to. You're catering to the family, okay? And to act like that is ridiculous, because all you're doing is spitting at the feet of the people who want to support you. And the same people that are showing up can easily not show up, or can easily post something social network-wise that can destroy you guys, because that's all it takes nowadays is one bad word, and it's shared amongst a million people, because that's what people do on Facebook. They copy and paste and they share, and before you know it, nobody shows up to your company no more. You have a bad name for disrespecting other companies and disrespecting fan base, and before you know it, you got nobody coming to your building anymore. So right now, I'm going to let out a challenge right now, and I want either Eric or Pat to give me a call, have a civil conversation with me of why you felt it was necessary to disrespect Damage 365 Radio when you claim you never heard of us, why you felt it was necessary to disrespect me. 732-566-2522. I challenge you to call me. You give me a mature, responsible, and a well-behaved freaking answer, because, again, we have a public that we don't want to be cursing on the air. So you tell me why you did the way you did, okay? And if you're not listening now, which I know you are, but if you're not listening now and you don't want to come on the air live, then you can hit me up on my Facebook page at any time you want, because you know what it is. You know it because you answered my emails, okay? I'm not going to be out there and say I'm going to try to self-destruct someone's company and go out there and pick it in front of your building and hand out anti-PWS flyers and stuff like that, or even pay somebody to do it, okay? If you don't want me at your building, I don't want to be at your building. If you don't want me to watch your product, I don't want to see your product. But don't ever insult people who are reaching out to help you and do an honest day's work of making you money. I'm not making any money out of it. I'm going there free, as you said. I'm going to interview a couple of your members of your talent, hand-selected probably by you. I was going to interview you as a promoter, and I was going to promote you on my show and on our Facebook page so other people can see that besides the aforementioned shows that we had, that PWS puts out a good product, and you should go see it, and you're supported by Damage 365 Radio. We were there in person. We play your interviews. We play your talents interviews, and before you know it, you have a larger fan base. And what did it cost you? Time. That's all it costed you. It didn't cost you money. It didn't cost you anything out of your pocket. It didn't take any money out of your talent's pocket. Time. Okay? And I'm sure you got 5-10 minutes to sit down and interview with somebody, but I guess not. 732-566-2522. Put up or shut up. That's all I got to say. Because while I'm covering New Jersey J Cup live and in person for Jersey Championship Wrestling, you guys will be coming up with your own little gimmick to try to match that. But I don't need to know about that. I don't care anymore. Okay? Because bottom line is, you disrespected me, you disrespected my fan base, you disrespected my staff, my company's name, and everything about me. And if you think that whoopee-doo, you're a 2-bit little radio company, you have no idea what people can do on social networking to destroy someone's company. Okay? Go online. Google restaurants. Go on Yelp. Anything like that, and see what little comments from people and how that can stop and sway people from going places because of what they're reading. Okay? And you don't think people do it on purpose? You don't think people go on there and say, oh, you know what? Don't go to this wrestling this company because they disrespect you. They rip you off. They always position the seating terribly. You can't see the ring. The people are disrespectful. I brought my kids there, and they're bleeding their foreheads, and there's blood everywhere. Well, all you had to do is post something. Okay? I don't need to do it because I have more self-respect than that. But you really should worry about and think before you open your mouth, or you get a set of keyboard balls and you mouth off to somebody. Okay? Because I know you're like a 30-something-year-old kid, a child in a man body that's hiding behind a wrestling company and your partner because you're not a real man. You think that you have the greatest job in the world right now, that everything's awesome and you can't be touched. Everything's fine. But the bottom line is, you're just like any other business owner. One slip up, one little mistake, one wrong move can bring your whole empire down. And just remember that next time when somebody reaches out to you on and volunteers their free time to help you out, before you smack them in the face and say, screw you. Because you know what? We don't got time for you. We don't care. Because right now, in my mind, PWS, Pro Wrestling Syndicate, don't exist anymore. Screw you. Don't care. You don't want to put up and shut up. That's fine with me. Moving on. No more for you. Sorry, folks. Had to get that out there. Damage 365 Radio, as many of you have been following us on our Facebook page, have a lot of guests lined up for the months of January, February, and March. Next week, we will have Wes Adams in the house, as he will interview with us live. And the following week, we will have John Malice. And then on the 26th, it'll be Jack Blaze of Legends Professional Wrestling, the president of the company. We've left February 2nd open right now because we'd like to do some kind of a special, not a 2013 recap, but kind of a memorial show of everybody that we've lost in wrestling in the last calendar year. So we're going to leave that open. And then we continue on February 9th. Paris Kelly, a nice young wrestler from the Midwest, will be joining us. On the 16th, King Shane Williams. On the 23rd, we will have Pandora. On because that was a short month, March 2nd, we'll have Kayla McDaniel on the show. And we'll stop right there because that's pretty much the busy month right there. Okay, February 28th, Superstars of Wrestling in Spotswood, New Jersey, at the Knights of Columbus. We're going to attempt to do both shows because the next day on March 1st, Superstars of Wrestling will be in Pompton Lakes, New Jersey. So we're going to try to attempt to reach out to both. We've contacted Superstars of Wrestling. They've gotten back in touch with us, so we're going to try to set something up there. And while we have Kayla McDaniels on the 2nd, March 8th is the big event in Queens, New York. And we're going to most definitely be attending that show as a group. And we're going to go out there and we're going to stomp the pavement, meet some people, throw our business cards around, get ourselves known like we did in Atlantic City. Since my trip to Atlantic City, our fan base has doubled, and that's in less than a month. So the power of face-to-face contact has done a lot better than the power of social networking. So we definitely want to reach out to everybody out there in Queens, New York, whether they're wrestling or just sports related, and throw around our card. And you never know what's going to happen. You might have a football player that says, you know what, I want to come on your show and talk about my training regimen that we're promoting new DVDs and stuff. Maybe one of the wrestlers there. Right now they only have a couple listed, but that will grow very quickly. I know all about these conventions and signing shows. I do a lot of baseball ones, especially that have to do with the New York Mets. And they'll have 2 or 3, and then like within 3 weeks of the show, they'll add like 35, 40 people in that couple of weeks. And it just gets out of hand really quickly. But we're just waiting on Melissa Coates to call in, and she will be calling in any second. And I don't know, Damage 365 Radio. Again, we'd like to reach out to all our fans at Damage 365 Radio on Skype and at Damage Athletics on Twitter. All our fans who reach out to us and contribute a little, we like to offer little free giveaways here and there. We had once in a while we do have a trivia contest, which we had some winners a couple weeks ago with our trivia contest. Congratulations to both of those guys, and prizes were sent out. I think, let's see, one was a Macho Man Randy Savage NWO black and white figure, and that sound, ladies and gentlemen, means that our caller is calling in. And at this time, we'd like to welcome in our guest of the show, and that would be Melissa Coates. Welcome to the show.
That's right.
How are you?
I am good. I'm actually at the Shiva for Scott Epstein.
Oh, okay.
I just saw Dave. Yeah, I saw your friend Dave's here.
Yes, Dave DeChico, good man, good man.
Yeah. So it's kind of unfortunately sort of a sad day here. Scott Epstein, of course, represented a lot of wrestlers, and I do a lot of conventions up in New York, so I see Scott quite a bit up here. So I come up for his funeral, and we're all kind of that was this afternoon. So we're over at I'm not sure whose house we're at, but we're at the Shiva. So I just stepped out the door so I could do my interview with you.
Well, I really appreciate that. If anybody doesn't know exactly what Melissa means, Scott Epstein, who was an agent of many wrestlers and representative many, passed away a couple of weeks ago in a car accident, and right now she's attending to family services.
Yeah, so I just stepped out the door. It's like a lot of people in there, and everyone's kind of catching up. And, it's a beautiful service. They had, really lots of photos of Scott with, he represented Superstar Billy Graham and some of the other people he represented. And, it was a nice little tribute to him. So that's sort of what I'm in the middle of doing today. So, anyway, well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. And we won't hold you up long. We'll just ask you a couple of questions that,
Sure.
That we would have wanted to ask you. And question number one was, how did you get into the wrestling business to start with?
Actually, how I got into it, as a kid, I always thought it was so cool. And I think you were going to ask me one of my influences. Of course, I'm a professional bodybuilder, too. That's the main thing. I did a lot of nights in the world at one point. I did the Olympia a couple of times, a lot of magazine shoots and that sort of thing. And I loved, of course, like most of us, so I loved Hulk Hogan back in the day, the whole Venice Beach, bodybuilder, tan, that whole sort of image. And I think that's partly what got me into professional bodybuilding. But, down the line there, a lot of the women bodybuilders were getting absolutely humongous. And I did a lot of magazine work as well. Magazines didn't want me getting really big. So it was sort of a weird spot to get into. Like, they wanted me to still model for magazines, but I really couldn't train hard enough to win a show, so I would have been a little bit bigger than the magazines like to promote. So at that time, I started switching into wrestling instead. So, I was briefly at Killer Kowalski's. I went up there to learn the first, the beginnings of pro wrestling, and I eventually ended up at OVW, which was the WWE developmental, at the time out in Louisville, Kentucky. So I ended up moving from Los Angeles out to Louisville, Kentucky, and, I worked with Nikki James and Jillian Hall, and Melina was there, and, a lot of the Beth Phoenix, a lot of the girls that did really, really well. I trained with all of them. Maria Canales was out there, too.
Okay.
And, so I switched into wrestling. I did Backlash. I actually took the Master Lock Challenge. I was the girl who took the Master Lock Challenge at Backlash 2005, and, I mean, that was interesting, having Chris Masters stick me in the Master Lock Challenge. I did not win the 3,000. That was the prize money that day, but I had a great time. It was a really great experience. I've been wrestling ever since. I was at Deep South for a while, working with, he ended up being Luke Gallows, or Sextus, on TV. We were doing a gimmick there where it's actually a bag lady of all things, and his character at the time had been the freaking Deacon, which was kind of a homeless guy who lived in a sewer. And at the time, because you pick the roles, obviously they want you to give you for Jody Hamilton, and I don't think Bill DeMott necessarily wanted me to do this bag lady role, but some mutual friends were like, oh, what if the freaking Deacon has a girlfriend, and she's a bag lady, and I was in the ring, I guess, the day, and it's so humid. I'm assuming my hair was such a mess. That's a friend of mine suggested, where's your girlfriend's Melissa, and she's a bag lady, and my hair was like just a big frizz-ball curly mess, so I must have looked just horrible. So I suppose that was the inspiration for this particular character. I don't know. It was the most flattering thing in the world, but Vince McMahon, they actually took a look at it, but at the time they thought it was too 1980s. Like, I think it was 2006. WWE wasn't doing gimmicks. Like, those kind of gimmicks were more of a 1980s sort of thing where, people were characters rather than being themselves. So, it's pretty much what you see on TV today. I was down at FCW, actually, not all that long ago, and it seems like the gimmicks are coming back. So a lot of the characters for NXT that I saw at this particular show, it was one of the last shows that they had at the FCW in Tampa that Steve Kern owns. A lot of the characters are now, they're doing gimmicks. So it looks like, the scene for the WWE might be changing in the next few months. Even the girls have a lot of gimmick characters. So it's definitely, an interesting sort of shift, especially for women, because usually the girls are, just being themselves, they're having their fights as their personalities, and now it seems like characters are coming back in. So, I guess the bag lady was before her time, apparently. So, but yeah, I made the switch over when I always liked wrestling, and I played tennis as well. I'd actually been a pretty good tennis player, so I like athletics as well as bodybuilding, and in pro wrestling, that's it's sports entertainment. So you're doing athletics, but at the same time, sort of a larger than life character, So it was something I was interested in. So I went ahead and did it back then. I'd had some success, and I'm still doing it, and got a lot of shows coming up. And actually, I'm doing a bar opening in Elgin, Illinois next Friday. And actually, I'm painted on the women's bathroom door. So I'm actually somewhat flattered, but painted on a men's bathroom door, and I'm on the women's bathroom door. So I was kidding the other day on Facebook and Twitter, going I finally made it. I have really made it. I am painted on a bathroom door.
It could be worse.
So,
like I said, you could have been painted on the men's stall.
Well, yes, exactly, or my number in there, which I got a few jokes from people about that. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's I always love entertaining the crowd. I get into that sort of thing, and it's like sports entertainment. It's athleticism and sort of stunt work, and it's a lot of fun. So I've stuck with it, and I have a good time doing it. So.
Do you have any influences that you encountered after you already started in wrestling that might be still going, or that's not currently on anybody's roster right now, but that's kind of been like a coach figure to you?
An influence?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the main people, I really like Rick Rogers' training. Rick Rogers trained like the hustler Rick Rogers. He trained me at OVW, and he was a really good trainer. Of course, Hulk Hogan, I think from what I heard, he's going back to the WWE. I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
I can't speak for him, but I have a strong feeling that he is. I've gone to some of the shows the past couple of months, and they would show a lot of Hogan's old movies. I clipped from his movies, so I have a pretty strong feeling Hogan's going to turn back up, in the WWE. But not really coach figures. Like coaches is what I consider, say Killer Kowalski when I was briefly up in Malden. And that's up in Massachusetts. And Hogan, I guess, is the biggest sort of influence just from watching him and his whole sort of persona. I think that's what originally got me into it. And I have a few good friends up there that are doing really well, that have been at it for quite a few years. So it's good to see them have success and do well.
Okay. Where do you see yourself in 5 years or so with your career?
Well, of course, I'm going to be the Divas champion. Anyway, what other answer do you really think I'm going to say? I mean, the likelihood of that, who knows? But, I continue to do a lot of fitness modeling. I do a lot of appearances. I'm still doing wrestling matches. And I've done some film work. I've done a few films. I did a science fiction film called Nemesis 3 quite a few years ago with a lot of top women bodybuilders. I've done that. I have another film that is coming out that Evan Ginsberg, who is the associate producer, Evan,
yes,
of course, through Dave. Yeah, he has a film coming out called The Stage and Altar, and I also, Marty Jannetty helped get me involved with this other movie that should be coming out. I can't really say too much about it, but the same people who did Beyond the Mat, so that should be a really big event coming up. And so what I picture myself doing is hopefully wrestling and some film work, from the training I have, at the developmentals. It's basically acting training, to be honest, and to a certain degree some stunt work training. Now I know how to fight without legitimately really killing someone. So I see myself kind of still doing what I'm doing today. Hopefully I'll be making a lot more money though.
Well, that's good. I mean, we know that independent wrestling doesn't really pay the bills. It's a little something extra, but a lot of we just do it to entertain the fans. I can only work for so little money, so I'm lucky because I get a lot of bookings. Mm-hmm. I think it's sort of nowadays. I think
I was just actually talking to a photographer from Los Angeles who wants to shoot me. It seems like kind of the more muscular build on women is back in, including in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably be doing some modeling work out there pretty soon. I got a couple of possible agents I've been talking with about that. But, I'm lucky because, people fly me out places to do shows and pay me to do the show. So I do well considering, I never ended up with this big run on television or anything. I think it's because I have, sort of, a look where you look at me and you go, wow, that girl's a wrestler, because I'm well built and I'm strong and, so I get a lot of work. So it's good. It's like you said, I mean, independent wrestling doesn't pay super well, but I'm lucky in the fact that, I keep fairly well booked and, people fly me out places or, they pay me what I ask for. So all in all, it works out. It's all like chatting with fans and, selling other merchandise, like my website, melissacoates.com. It's a PG site, but, I have some members for that and 8x10s and calendars and stuff like that. So there's a way of making money off it. And,
right.
I don't just do wrestling. I do, like, the modeling work. And the thing I'm doing at this new club called D Hangout Bar and Grill in Elgin, Illinois. I'm doing that on Friday, and it's their grand opening. So that's kind of cool every once in a while. I've done that for Kevin Nash as well. He had me as a hostess at one of his WrestleMania parties. So somehow, I don't know. I'm fairly sure people don't know me as a party girl, but somehow I get involved in these bar openings, which is, it's fun. I guess I'm flattered that, they consider me like a good hostess for stuff like that. So, it's public awareness. You keep busy, and there's all kinds of, ways you can make money here and there doing this and that. So I do the independent wrestling and appearances as well. I do a lot of conventions up here in New York. I'll be at the big event. I believe it's March 8th.
Yes, it is. We'll be there.
Yeah. I'm always at the big event. And, getting back to Scott, I would often see Scott Epstein up at conventions up in this area, and sometimes as well at bodybuilding events. Every once in a while, I'll go to the Olympia or to the Schwarzenegger Classic. I'll go to that show as well. Of course, there's a pretty good crossover between the fitness business and pro wrestling. So, it's all interconnected,
Right. Well, I mean, I look forward to the big event. We look forward to seeing you there, meet you in person.
Yes, definitely.
And,
that definitely will be a good time. I'm not sure who they had at this one. The last one, of course, they had just an amazing Chris Jericho there and Hulk Hogan and Bruno Sammartino. They had an amazing lineup at the last big event they had. I'm not sure who's on their schedule for this next one, but I'm friends with Tommy who runs that and Brian Barth. Brian today actually was at Scott's funeral as well. So
yes.
It's like a close knit. It's a close knit family. It's a lot of friends, and it's always maybe it's not making you $1 million, but it's good to have friends and hang out and have a good time and have a good laugh. It's like a big family of people, and it's nice to be involved in it.
Do you have anything immediate coming up wrestling-wise? Any shows or promotions?
Well, the one I'm confirmed on, I have a bunch of stuff that's kind of touch and go right now. I need to confirm. Of course, it was Christmas, and I was up visiting my brother, so I haven't confirmed a lot of stuff. But definitely confirmed is a show in Orlando for USA Pro Wrestling. It's their 20th anniversary show. So Frank Goodman, he's the Masked Maniac. It's an incredible lineup. Tom Code is February 1st.
Okay.
It's on my website, the address. I think it's Orlando National Guard Armory, and Tom Kozat there. The headbangers, Jesse Sorensen, Jesse Neal. I'm trying to figure out. It's a really good lineup. It's pretty much all like former WWE superstars, but I have that on my Twitter and on my Facebook page. So that's February 1st. I have a couple of shows, I believe, coming up February 22nd and 23rd in the Memphis area. Some stuff in California. I believe I'm back up in Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania on March 23rd. I have some other things touch and go. I'm just confirming all of them. The winter months were a little bit slower, but everything looks like it's going to be really busy by the time February rolls around. I think I'll have a show up in Long Island too.
Okay.
This is just stuff I need to confirm, and I post all that, of course, on my website and on Twitter and on my Facebook page.
Okay, you can also send us any promotional like flyers, posters, and things that you're doing. You can give us, send it to us. We'll also post it on our Facebook page. We like to promote anyone that's come on our show. Kind of
Okay,
a thank
definitely.
you for coming on the show. We like to promote them as well. And
yeah, so the main thing I have coming up is, I think his dad, I think he's related. The gentleman who has me at his bar opening is Mike Dial. I think he's somehow related to Tiger Ali Singh. Is that how you say his name? I think he's somehow related to him.
Okay.
So, it's a sports bar opening. It's not a wrestling show, but that's what I have next Friday.
Okay.
What's that, January 10th. So that's what I have going on. And some other interesting thing I have going on is I'm going to be in this book called Athletes Among Us by Jordan Matter. His first book, which is Dancers Among Us. I shot for this book about 5 weeks ago up in New York. And his first book was it's on Oprah's list, and it was a New York Times bestseller, and Oprah, Barnes & Noble, like, it's just incredible. So I ended up doing a shoot for this book, and that should be coming out, I think, at the end of 2014. But it's like a ridiculous photo. I don't know if you've seen it, but I'm wearing a bikini, standing on 2 3-foot bar stools, which were wobbly, and I have a gentleman across his back drinking a beer, and I have him in a torture rack.
Oh, yeah, I think I did see that.
Did you see that? It's like it's so funny. And so, of course, this was shot like in a real bar in New York. We just walked in there, and we had to shoot it pretty quickly because eventually the owner of the bar, I think he was a little disturbed because I was wearing a pink bikini, and they wanted me to put on a pink song after. So anyway, so everybody was pretty much, the patrons in the bar and the bartender, everybody was pretty like amused by me torture racking a guy while he drinks beer. But I think the owner, I think they thought maybe the atmosphere of a girl wearing a thong bikini in their bar kind of switched into a different kind of bar feel, if you know what I mean. So we got the shot done. We had a bunch of food after, so we put money in the bar owner's pocket. I think it was called Mike's Bar or something like that, but, it's kind of an interesting thing that I'm coming up that I'm pretty proud of. It's a really cool shot. It's very different, to say the least. But the photographer's named Jordan Matter. He was really happy with it because it was just so different. Typically you don't see girls wrestling guys anyway. There's like a big market for that. It's actually the matches I had where I used to wrestle guys were actually some of the most popular matches.
I've seen a couple on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not quite as big as that anymore. I'm a little bit more streamlined. I was a little bigger before, but of course, sort of the days of China and the WWE wrestling men, those days seem to be over, which is too bad in a lot of ways because it seemed like a really, it's sports entertainment, and the crowd really got into those type of matches.
Right.
So I know on YouTube some of my biggest hits, like, there's one where I'm wrestling, I think his name's Triple J. He still works up here. Like, I was wrestling him. That one I think has 150,000 views. Oh, and he actually told me, like, people loved watching that match because the whole idea behind it was, he gets out and cuts the promo about girls shouldn't be wrestling. They should be in the kitchen barefoot and having children.
Oh, God.
So this was for NWS, I believe. I don't know if NWS is still running. I think they switched names or something like that. I'm not totally sure because I live in Atlanta, so I get up to the Northeast occasionally to wrestle, but not in New York all that frequently. Usually a few times a year I'm up here. But it's tons of hits. So every once in a while I bump into Triple J, and he just tells me, I'm still getting messages from people on Facebook with them laughing, saying, hey, so did Melissa Coates kick your ass again? Like, apparently people still love this match so much they will message him and laugh at him about it.
That's hilarious.
So it's like ridiculous. I didn't even know it was that popular, but, apparently a lot of that sort of male-female interaction for wrestling, like combat sports, is actually like incredibly popular. People really enjoy seeing that.
And
so, I think this photographer kind of like that idea that here I am, like, torture racking a guy, the whole sort of element that you have in there, and he's drinking a beer. It sort of looks like it's, to me, it kind of comes across as an anti-drinking thing, like, hey, if you get drunk every night, you're going to get stuck in the coke rack, or, it's like, stop drinking, or this is going to happen to you. It's just, like, ridiculous. But I had a really good time doing it. It's a really interesting photo. It's really nice. I'm definitely going to blow that photo into a poster and put it over my couch.
Your website is melissacoates.com?
Yeah, melissacoates.com, 1 L, 2 S's. And my Twitter is Melissa L. Coates. like my middle name starts with an L. Somebody else got Melissa Coates, so I had to take Melissa L. Coates. And then I have a couple of Facebook pages as well. So I post all my appearances and, you know, photos from my latest photo shoots and all that information. I post up there every day. So,
yeah, well, we like to thank you for coming on, though.
No, thank you very much. I'm sorry it's not a better day.
That's okay. It's okay. And, you know, drive safe, and we'll definitely talk to you soon, and we'll definitely see you at the big show.
Yeah, thanks so much. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. And
that was Melissa Coates, ladies and gentlemen, and we'd like to say thank you to her. Next week on the show, we'll have from Wildcat Sports, Wes Adams. Ladies and gentlemen, help control the asshole population and have your friends spayed or neutered. Have a great day.
Closing time, open all the doors